All right, fellas. This is going to be an interesting one. This is episode 7. I have not thought about the title, but what's in my mind is what I always tell you to be: dangerous. We're going to talk about being dangerous, and not in a bad kind of way, right? Like, we're not committing felonies. We're not selling dope. We're not punching kittens, but we're being men. We're being manly men, right? We're letting that testosterone bubble up. And when we're going to go out and we're going to do something dangerous. Because, girls like stuff that are, they like dangerous guys. They like excitement. And I don't mean beat your wife, but, if you're doing the marital thing, you're being intimate, choke her a little bit. She might like it. Or she may tell you never do it again. But she might like it. Just choke her a little bit. Pull her hair. Be dangerous, right? And the same thing goes for life. They say you got to grab life by the balls. Grab it by the hair, Pretend it's your wife. Caress it slowly. Hold it tightly. Kiss it gently. And then slowly increase the passion. Choke it. Pull the hair. Smack her on the booty till it turns red. Because that's what we're about. We're men. No more holding back. No more being passive. No more taking no for an answer. No more Mr. Nice Guy. All right. I hope you're feeling where I'm going with this. We had a little medley. Little Alice Cooper, little Tupac, some guy named Jake Hill. Never heard of him, but songs sound good. And that's the point. I want you to feel something. This episode is just like episode 3, the Motivation Manifesto. But this one, hopefully you're already motivated, right? I want to add a little bit more fuel to the fire. I want to put a little more gas in your tank. I want to juice you up a little bit. I want to pump you up a little bit. I want you to get ready to go out here and kick in some doors, take some names, cut some heads off, proverbially, of course. But wake up and choose violence, right? Because any act of change, of real significant change, is violent. Making love is violent. Yeah, it can be slow. Well, I guess making love is passive. But that other word, that F word that we're not going to use, that's violent, right? When you climax, that's violent. Your body shakes. Her body shakes, right? When a baby when that egg is inseminated, it's violent. The little swimmers got to crack that bad boy open and go in there and plant the flag. And it's a fight. It's a fight of the fittest. It's millions of them, all racing to the same goal. And the first one there is the one that gets fertilized. It fertilizes the egg, and it's the one that gets born. Same thing with life. It's million of us racing to the same goal, maybe doing it different ways. Because nobody can be you like you can be you. But you got a lot of competition out here that want to be first, that want to plant that flag. And it's your job to make it to the finish line first. See, now we live in a world where everybody gets a trophy for showing up. But second place is the first loser, right? That's not what we're going for here, fellas. I want you to be a winner. I want you to be number one. I want you to plant that flag on the mountaintop with your sigil on it. What they say in Game of Thrones, winter is coming. Winter is coming. And when it gets here, are you going to be ready? Have you prepared? Have you done everything you can to make sure that your house will survive? Do you have what it takes to sit on the Iron Throne? If you saw the show, you get the reference. If not, it still sounds good anyway, right? But fellas, I want you to critically think. How prepared are you to take on this thing called life? Because it's happening with or without you. Whether you're with it, whether you're sitting back watching sports, on the video game, I'm telling you to turn the TV off and put down the PlayStation or the Xbox remote or step away from your computer keyboard. Get out of the metaverse and get into life because it's going to pass you by. What are you doing to make sure that you are setting yourself up for winter? Because the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children's children. I'm not there yet, which is why I got this Tupac work ethic, which is why I'm pumping these episodes out. I got magazines coming. I got books coming. I got all kind of stuff that I ain't even talked about yet. But I want to get this podcast out the way. I want to drop a couple episodes so it can marinate. I can promote it. And while I'm promoting it, I could do some other things so it looks like I've done years worth of work. But I'm pumping this out a week here, a week there, a week here, a week there, like calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups, dips, crunches, push-ups, sit-ups, dips, crunches, pushes, sit-ups, dips, crunches. And after a while, I'm going to be chiseled. And you're going to think, man, this dude been working out. You don't know, I was flabby till I was 38. You're going to see me at 40 like, oh man, the dude must have been working out his whole life. Nope. I'm not lazy, I'm not a slouch, but I'm not a gym rat either. I know people that are gym rats and they're still out of shape. But like I said before, I'm taking my personal trainer certification. So I got to take time off of that to get my studies right, to learn some things that I can implement in real life, and I can come back and teach you all some of this stuff. Because what I say isn't for everybody. Everything I say isn't going to be for everybody. But I'm going to drop a lot of jewels on the way, and you pick it up, put it in your pocket, and run with it. That's how we're going to do it. So we're going to talk about how to thrive in life. We're going to talk about how to maximize that potential, because we already talked about motivation, procrastination, and increasing your productivity. Go back and listen to that again, the Motivation Manifesto. Probably my favorite show that I've done yet, because it was full of passion. And I want to make this one similar to that. Maybe not as long, but I want to make this one similar to that. I'm trying to condense these things, so I want to give you a lot of energy, compacted into a small, powerful show. Some of them will be longer, but I want to make some shorter and straight to the point. So some of it's going to be me talking, firing you up, giving you some inspiration, giving you a little bit of data, giving you some music, firing you up, giving you a little inspiration, giving you a little data, giving you a little music, just like the calisthenic regimen. And you should be doing the same thing in life. Find something you're passionate about and lock in. Compartmentalize it. Break it down to the smallest denominator. Do that. Go to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Wash, rinse, repeat. Back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Before you know it, people are going to think you're a workhorse. How did he do so much in so little time? Because you learn how to compartmentalize, automate, come up with systems, and execute flawlessly. That's the name of this thing. We're talking about being high performance. We're talking about firing at 12 cylinders. If not 12, maybe you got a good 4. You fire those bad boys up, condition yourself, maybe you step it up to 6, then 8, then 12. How would you feel going through life performing like your V12 engine? How would that feel? Envision it. See it. Know that you could do it. And then put your pedal to the metal. Mash that gas and keep going. You see the speed limit sign, go past it. Drive so fast that you knock it over from the wind. And keep moving. You see the cop lights behind you, keep moving. Because I want you to be unstoppable. I want you to be so dangerous that when people look at you, they think, never in a million years could I touch this guy. I want your wife to wake up one day and look at you like, you ever see those cartoons back in the day and there's 2 guys on a desert island and they're so hungry and the guy looks at his friend and his friend's like a turkey leg or a baked chicken. I want your wife to wake up one day and look at you like that and be like, damn, I knew he had it in him, but I didn't even see it coming. You just surprised, baby, I did this, I did this, I did this. All of the things might not work, but you know what? You tried it. And it's okay with failing your way to success. Do not get discouraged if things don't work out the way you did, but most people won't even attempt to do it. At least you're going to have the nuts and the cojones to go out and say, you know what? I ain't never done this before, but I want to try it, and I'm going to take the risk. Within moderation, of course, right? Don't see your family out in the street because you put all your money on a quote-unquote sure thing. Don't be like that guy that's like, oh, a guy told me about a horse, and you put your 401k on it. I'm not talking about that. That's idiotic. Don't be that guy. But be the guy that takes calculated risks. Plan, research. Plan, research. Plan, research. Then execute. That's how you do it. You execute. But when you execute, you got a clearly defined plan in your head and on paper. Written out, mapped out. You know how to go from step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, rinse and repeat. Back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and do it until it becomes second nature. You're going to build up that muscle memory. It's like if you've never done a push-up, you start with 2, you get up to 4, you get up to 8, you get up to 12. Next thing you know, you're knocking out 100 a day like Mike Tyson. Knocking heads off. You know what I'm talking about? That's what this is about. This is what the Nuclear Dad is about. Yes, we talk about relationships and loving your wife and being a good father to your kids, but how can you be that if you're not living up to your potential as a man? You ever seen the movie 300? 300 Spartans held off that entire army. Of course they died, but everybody dies. That's not the point here. We're not talking about living forever. Maybe in memory. But we're talking about being a Spartan. All right. Yes, indeed. That was a Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. You may not be familiar, may be familiar. It was an interesting time in hip hop. Very interesting. A lot of fights, a lot of shootings, a lot of violence. But what else is new, right? Then we had Lil Limp Bizkit. Caucasians had crunk music too. And that Limp Bizkit song came out when I was a teenager, and it definitely made you want to break stuff. So we got Knocking Heads Off by Lil Jon and the East Side Boys and Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit. Perfect music for the tone that we're setting. Now, again, my job with this episode, with this particular episode, my intention is just to make you feel like you want to get off your rump, get motivated, and do something. And if anything or anybody gets in your way, you're going to break them in two. Doesn't matter if you're 5'2", if you're 6'2", if you're 7'2". You're the biggest man in the room. Wherever you go, you dominate. Because you are, of course, a nuclear dad. We are the last of a dying breed, but we are going to revive it. And if we do have to go down with the ship, our names will ring on throughout history. I think that was in a movie too. I'm pretty sure that was in Gladiator. Wish I could find a sound clip. But this is where we are, gentlemen. So let me get into a little bit of data before this episode runs for an hour. This is from thegoodmenproject.com from 2018. 5 things men can do right now to thrive. Nobody knows what men are doing anymore, especially men. There's no denying that the glass ceiling still exists, but things are changing. While women are on the rise and finally getting some of the recognition they have long deserved in work and education, young men are now lagging behind in both areas. The future is about the ascension of women, but that does not have to be bad news for guys. In fact, I would argue that if you're a real man, a guy's guy, a man's man, if you will, there's never been a better time to be a guy. Today's women are shaking up the world and making things happen. They are not against men, but they do want guys to step up and be their best. What did I just say? Today's women want to date men who know who they are, who know what they want, and are driven to become the best that they can be. I'm not talking out of the side of my neck, guys. I know what I'm saying here. They want men to be the best in the sense of the word. So let's listen to our women and get to work. You can begin by acknowledging that there is a problem, that many hurdles for young men to get over. Young bucks lack role models, and many of their older counterparts are fading fast and are not setting a good example. In fact, many boomers, even Generation Xers, choose to complain about our changing world instead of putting in the effort to become better men. What are we doing here? As a result, many men find themselves out of touch and falling behind, and in some cases, falling off. Young men are at a crossroads in how they see themselves and how they fit in. Many young guys are caught somewhere between the MMA and manscaping, and that's no place to be. We are facing a male crisis, but it doesn't have to be this way. It's up to men to do the work and save themselves. Come on now. That's what real men do. The good news is women want us to succeed. Here are a few suggestions to help men thrive. Celebrate women. What have we been talking about here? Men need to realize that women are not the enemy. They should encourage women's gains in the workplace and in our culture because it is a very good thing for everyone, including men. When women take on more of the heavy lifting and financial burdens, it frees men up to evolve in other areas like working on themselves physically, spiritually, and in furthering their education. This guy must be, I'm regurgitating what I already been saying. Guys need to know that women want to be their best, not only financially or on a job, but in all aspects of your self-development. With a little effort and a swallowing of some of our male pride, guys can make tremendous strides in bridging the growing communication gap between the sexes so everyone wins. If guys do this, women will welcome them in with open arms. Don't be afraid to work on yourself. The world becomes a better place when we men evolve and become the best that we can be in mind, body, and spirit. Come on, man. Go inside. It's an old adage, but the answers do come from within. The media is constantly bombarding us with fear and worry. We become hypnotized by multi-platform messaging and its intrusion into our subconscious. As a result, much of our societal behavior has become reactive rather than mindful, and it is easy to become distracted by all of the content we're subject to. To maintain a true sense of self, it is necessary for men to find ways of tuning into themselves in order to tune out the noise. More and more people are exploring spirituality and holistic practices for optimum health and ways of getting in touch with themselves. Unfortunately, the vast majority of those following the path are women. That's why you got to be Christ-driven, men. You got to be the priest of your household. Keep your women godly. Keep them on task. You stay up to par. You follow the commandments, do what God told you, your wife will fall in line. It's time for guys to take a trip inside and learn what makes them tick, and what is really important to their lives and to the women they love. Energetic practices, all right, I ain't getting into that. They talking about this extra new age stuff. You are what you eat. I'm not even going to read the rest because he getting into some crazy stuff. But I like the concepts. So back to square one. Go inside. Do the inner work. Secondly, you are what you eat. Improve your diet. We'll have shows about that later on. You are more than your job. This is true. You got to find existence outside of what you do for a living. Keep learning. Always learn something new. I tell my kids this every day. Every day. 8, this is another article from NPR.org, WHYY, PBS, all of that stuff. 8 ways you can survive and thrive in midlife. I'm not even going to read the extra stuff because I'm realizing I get a little passionate and I don't pre-read it. I read it to you, but some stuff I'm not even going to put on here because I don't believe in everything that everybody says. But I'm going to highlight the concepts, the main concepts, and then we'll elaborate from there. Aim for long-term, meaning rather than short-term happiness, and you will likely find both. Choose what matters most. Lean into fear, not boredom. At every stage of life, you should be a rookie at something. Constantly be learning. Teach yourself new skills. Add punctuation to your life. Do something that gives you a little emphasis on, what you want to do. I'll read a little bit. Young adulthood offers plenty of milestones: graduating from college, starting a career, getting married, having your first child. But a professor at some place who trains elite middle-aged athletes says midlife is like a book without any structure, without sentences, periods, commas, paragraphs, chapters, and with no punctuation. Goals force us to think deliberately. She was so right. Like I said, get a goal, clearly defined, written down on paper, and execute. A few setbacks are just what the doctor ordered. Like I said, fail your way to success. The best way to start is just start. Pay attention to two of the biggest threats to a seasoned marriage are boredom and mutual neglect. Keep it spicy. Smack on that booty. Whisper something dirty in the ear. Send her a nasty little text message every once in a while. And the last thing, happiness is love. Happiness is love, man. When you're happy, you love more. When you love more, you're happy. They're mutually exclusive. Here's another one by entrepreneur.com from March 22nd, 2016. Remember, you were meant to thrive, not just survive. So many people today are unfortunately just surviving instead of thriving. They have a just get by type of mentality every minute of every day. More than likely, they have forgotten who they truly are, and they have settled for second best without even knowing it. Like I said, second place is the first loser. I believe one of the biggest regrets we will ever have at the end of our lives will be living in survival mode. Thinking about all the great and wonderful things that we wanted to do but never did. Thinking about lost goals and dreams that we never acted on. Get out there and get something done. Living in survival mode prohibits us from living a life of meaning and contribution. If you feel you have been surviving and just going through the motion, let today be the turning point in your life where you turn it all around. I strongly believe that one of the core reasons why so many get accustomed to living a life full of survival instead of a life that is thriving is because they let the hustle and bustle of life completely take over their lives and clog up their decision making. Have an existence outside of what you do for a living. They let their doubts continue to pile up and corrupt their thinking. They set out on a new adventure or set a new goal, but immediately after doing so, they let their doubts take over. Go back and listen to the podcast on procrastination. The Motivational Manifesto is probably one of the best podcasts you'll ever hear in your life. Stay purpose driven. So the first thing you can do. And this is, I don't know how many points there is, but let's go with number 1. Stay purpose driven. Number 2, hang around with winners. We talked about that. Constantly build yourself up. Positive self-talk. I mean, it's not that hard. The first one, stay purpose driven. It says, I know firsthand how easy it can be at times to let the hustle and bustle of life take over every move of yours. If you are intentional about staying purpose driven can mean a lot of things. Maybe you already know your purpose and life's mission, which is great. Do everything in your power and live that purpose each and every day. Everything that you do should revolve around being purpose driven. On the other hand, maybe you don't know what your purpose is in life yet. That's fine, and there's no reason to freak out about it. Everyone discovers what their purpose is at different stages in life. But the most important thing is being eager and passionate to discover what that purpose is for you. I firmly believe that we were all put here to do magnificent and wonderful things in the world. Part 2, hang around with winners. You have probably heard a million times the importance of who you hang out with, but it's amazing how many people still don't comprehend it and practice it in their everyday lives. If you hang around with people who are not motivated and searching for new ways to better themselves, that's exactly the same type of mindset in life that you will adopt. When you hang around with people who are obsessed with growing, getting better, and maximizing their potential, you will end up growing and getting better as well. If you want to forever make sure you don't fall into survival mode, hang around with winners. If you can't find any winners, hang around yourself and listen to the Nuclear Dad. We can hang out together. Number 3, constantly build yourself up. Most of the time, the men and women who settle for a life of survival Let the tough times of life tear them down while they completely neglect building themselves up. There is no doubt about it that life can be hard. It is very important that you never forget to be your own best friend and constantly look for ways to build yourself up rather than tear yourself down. Building yourself up can mean a lot of things for a lot of different people. When I refer to building yourself up, I simply mean stop neglecting yourself. Self-care is important. We're going to come out with some books about that. Give yourself the time you need to do whatever it is you want. Read great books that end up building your self-confidence and help you grow as an individual. Give yourself the permission to take that much-needed vacation you have been wanting to for so long. Find whatever works for you and stick to a plan. When you learn to be your own best friend and constantly research ways to build yourself up rather than tear yourself down, you will begin to realize that you absolutely got this and you have what it takes. It's easy to let everyday demands take over and dictate how your day goes, but each and every one of us has a choice on whether that is the case or not. Just remember this one important truth. You were put here to thrive, not just survive. I don't think I could have said it any better. We're going to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to give you a couple more songs to ride out to. And of course, these are only snippets. You can only hear this on Spotify. So if you're listening to us on YouTube or any other platforms, you're not going to get the music. Jump on over to Spotify, search the Nuclear Dad, listen to the songs so you can hear the music. It goes with the show. It helps with the mood and the tone that we're setting. But here's a couple more songs. Remember, guys, stay focused, stay vigilant, remember your mission, stay on course, and most important, stay cool. The Nuclear Dad Blogcast is sponsored by Family Man Magazine and thenucleardad.com. Family Man Magazine will be available this Father's Day, June 19, 2022.